What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the C&C Connection podcast. I am on half of the C's, Christian, along with the other half of the C, Chris. Chris, my brother, how are
Christian.
you doing this evening, man?
Christian.
Yes, sir.
This is Christian. Ho, ho, ho. Where were you Wednesday night, 9:30?
Wednesday night at 9:30. Oh boy, where was I on Wednesday night? I was probably in bed. I don't know.
You read out on the podcast. Ho, ho, ho. You want to
Sorry?
know my black magic? You want to see an example of my black magic?
Oh, sure.
Adam Page's booking. Ho, ho. Have you seen Sting?
Well, hang on. Wednesday night at 9:30, AEW wasn't even on. So,
I seen him. 86, Venice Beach. Do you remember?
no, because I was born in 93, so.
Ha, ha. Well, that tore up my voice a little bit. You were just talking to the Black Scorpion. Definitely tore my voice up. I wish I had a lozenge actually with me right there.
And I just tore up some of your logic as well. Where were you? Do you remember 86? No, I don't.
Oh, that was mostly for Sting there.
Oh, okay.
I think the Black Scorpion. Hey, Scorp. Yeah. Did you think it was Sting? Maybe. All right, well, go away. Anyway,
Is that the big surprise you had for me?
That's you just got to talk to the Black Scorpion. How did that feel?
It feels like I'm on Bruce Pritchard's podcast now with all the.
Well, I thank God it wasn't Ole Anderson because he'd come in here and cuss me out. But that's
or Jim Cornette. Jim Cornette would come over here and cuss you out.
Oh,
motherfucker!
I like Ole Anderson. Have you ever sat there and like watched one of his shoot interviews?
I have not.
Oh my God, you got to see the one where he's getting interviewed by Rob Feinstein because he literally tears Rob Feinstein a new fucking asshole.
Oh, does he?
Oh God, yes, I love listening to Ole Anderson talk, and especially when he's doing the Black Scorpion and Shockmaster. Those are classic.
Classic. I'll check that one out. I love the Jim Cornette rants he does. There's the shoots he does.
Oh yeah, Jim Cornette. I mean, I've been listening to his podcast probably since 14, 15, honestly. Like on YouTube, I discovered it. I was like, oh shit! Before Brian last joined.
Yeah,
actually, thank God he's there.
Yeah, that's incredible. The chick, Alice or whatever her name was, she was just horrible. Anyway.
She just, she didn't suit Jim Cornette, because
exactly.
you need somebody that kind of, can keep Cornette in line on his podcast.
Oh, will you stop? Yeah. Hey, before we get into more wrestling, I want to talk about something right quick, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
I've told you about that rapper Tom McDonald, have I not?
Oh yeah, I know Tom McDonald is. I know he has a new song coming out called Snowflake. I think
it's out and it's out. It's on YouTube. And actually, as a matter of fact, as we are recording this video, let me pull it up here.
Probably got a couple million views by now.
It's only 24 hours old, right? Well, maybe a little over 24 at this point. But it had. I'm just going to go on my phone because my computer wants to take forever. So, Snowflakes by Tom McDonald. Hold on. Snowflakes currently has 2.4 million views on YouTube.
Damn.
2.4 million.
He's raking in that advertiser, though, that's for sure.
Yes, sir. And he has, I'll tell you how many subscribers my buddy has. And by the way, I'll talk about that song in just a second, because there's some things I want to talk about in that song. He has 2.27 million subscribers on YouTube, and 2.4 million of them, myself included, have seen the music video. Now, I want to talk about the song for just a little bit, if you don't mind. Um, he Tom McDonald, when he does his rap music, he has like different pocket, like he has different ways of rapping. Like in one song, he will be all fun and games and all funny ha ha. In one, he will be trying a new genre. Like he tried to do rock music, and actually those are really good songs. He did 3 good rock songs.
He's got a real band playing behind him, so
Yeah,
that's why his music also sounds different than everybody else's. He went
yeah,
back to how it was used to be done and have a real band play it.
yeah. And then he has this kind of style when he gets all political. And in his song, he started off the song. Start off when you start off a song, you want to start off hot, right? Well,
Yeah,
this guy, he started off his song like he was in some lava. I swear. Because he starts it off by saying, if you lie to the government, they put you in prison. If they lie to you, it's called being a politician.
yep.
And just right off the rip, you're like, oh, it's going to be that kind of song. Oh, shit, okay. And then, like later on in the song, he goes, screw pronouns, everybody's a retard these days. Which, I mean, I can't argue that. I it's hard
Well,
to argue that, man. I mean,
this is my question to that is when did this country turn? Because I grew up in the same time he did, and we used to call each other names and stuff like that.
right,
Nobody ever whined, cried, got offended,
right.
anything like that. Nowadays, you sit there and like if you play a sport, for example, you get a participation trophy. Fuck that shit. Let them fuckers lose. And there's lessons in there. I can
Just,
say what I want on here. My mom just told me to watch my mouth. I can say what I want, but let them lose.
right.
You
Yeah,
know?
no, the participation trophies, that's got to stop. Like, if you're
Yeah,
good, you're
because
good,
I've
and you
learned
just like if you win, you deserve to be rewarded. But if you lose, you don't deserve to be rewarded because you lost.
you learn
May have had a good effort,
you learn
but
you learn your best lessons from losing in life.
facts,
Honestly,
facts.
like how do you, if you succeed all the time, what do you learn? There's nothing to learn. So to me, it kind of flies in the face, like, oh, you know what? Maybe you should have fucking pitched that ball a little bit better there, Timmy.
Yeah, maybe you should have.
Ha, you
Maybe you
suck.
should have hit
You
the ball just
lose.
a little bit harder. Maybe you should have
There you
run.
go.
Maybe you should have run that field goal or whatever. I don't know football very.
Maybe you should have listened to me and put that needle in your ass and took those steroids, and maybe you would have an edge. But nonetheless, yeah.
Maybe you
When
should
did
have
the
put
country
one
turn the
extra,
curve?
or maybe you should have put one less weight on that dumbbell. Whatever.
Yeah,
I'm not good with these
but when
analogies,
did like
obviously. Uh,
when when did like it become, because I just like woke up one day and just seemed like everything had changed from like, yeah, I don't even understand the country anymore,
well,
based off how people get offended by the littlest things. It's like, oh my god.
I think I have an answer for you, and it's like the most obvious answer. It happened.
Hello.
Yeah, it
I
happened. What's up?
it sounded like it was fading out a little bit. Sorry.
Oh no, I probably just too a little too quiet. I was just gonna say it started out when social media was introduced. I hate to say that,
Oh
but social media has made us all softer. Um,
yeah.
it really has, and it's made people soft, but it's also made people stupid. Because now people on social media, they feel like, okay, I'm behind the keyboard. I can say whatever I want to this guy, and he's not gonna come kick my ass. Like, if you're gonna, I'm of the impression where if you're gonna talk shit about somebody, and I'm probably not the best example since we do talk shit on this show, but if you're gonna talk shit, at least do it to their face. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I just think that everybody should not talk shit about each other. Just get
Yeah,
along. Like, there's a difference between a joke and me,
it,
sodomizing your mother with a rusty fishing knife. So, I
it,
mean,
and talking about that Tom McDonald guy again, in his song "Snowflakes," he is saying, "Oh, you're ashamed to be American? Oh, that's cool. Because honestly, we're all ashamed of you too."
there
Which,
you go.
yeah, I mean that, and I did a reaction video to that song, and actually the cool thing about this reaction is that my reaction to this song was the very first time I heard that song. So I reacted as I heard it for the very first time, but um, but he says that, and I made it very clear in my reaction. I am proud to be an American. I'm proud to be who I am. I mean, I wouldn't change this for the world. I yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to shout
Yeah,
out.
you're right. You're right. But because like it now, there is kind of like a stigma for saying, you know what, I'm proud of my country and this, that, and the other. There seems to be that because it's like that's the problem with a country where you have the freedom of speech is that people don't care until you piss them off or say something that they don't like. And it's like, well, maybe you should go to a country like Afghanistan
Third
where
world.
you
Go to the
can't
third
say
world.
what you want.
Go to the third world
There
and see
you
how
go.
far you get in life over there. Um,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
anyway, I just wanted to mention that real quick before we get off on our wrestling tangents because we're going to get off on that. But I wanted to shout out Tom McDonald and just say that that whole song was just. If you haven't heard that song, go listen to that song. It is absolutely phenomenal. Just and he speaks so much truth. So anyway, that being said, you wanted to get on the air tonight and talk about um, some some silly gimmicks in the world of professional wrestling. Am I right?
That is exactly right. Kind of make it lighthearted because a lot of people, focus on stuff for today, and I'm just like, there's so much funny stuff that we
Oh,
can get
sure.
to from yesteryear that either the people that listen to this don't know or haven't discovered yet.
Yeah.
And just like the Black Scorpion made a run in at the beginning.
The
We could start there. I
Black
mean,
Scorpion.
because
Yeah. I don't know much about the Black Scorpion, so you may have to
oh,
on that guy.
I will fill in the blanks here.
Okay.
Um, this was after Ric Flair got off the booking committee in 1990, and Jim
Oh,
Cornette they all got off the
Was
booking.
this when he was masked?
We'll get there.
Okay.
This has got some twists and turns to it.
Okay.
Pretty much Black Scorpion. They kind of didn't build any heels for Sting when Sting first won the title. His first run was not great.
Right.
And reason being is they just did not build any heels in WCW. They were run under Jim Herd, and so Ole Anderson got the book, and essentially he just kind of, well, fuck it, I'm getting a paycheck. Fuck you. Here you go. Here is your heel. How
Yeah.
about the Black Scorpion? He's a masked man from Sting's past that has the ability to do magic and all this other things. The Black Scorpion was actually a couple different people. It was originally supposed to be Al Perez under the mask.
Okay.
What happened is he just did not want to do a job. He appeared under the mask a couple times, but at the end he didn't want to do a job. They also had some magicians play the Black Scorpion. So
Okay.
essentially the way out was put Ric Flair under the mask because he wasn't originally supposed to be under the mask. Actually, if you remember, if you ever seen the results for Starcade 90, he's actually wrestling earlier in the night.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Ric Flair, yeah, he's not in the main event. The main event's a cage match with Black Scorpion and Sting.
I gotta go
And
back and watch some classic wrestling pay-per-views, obviously.
oh yeah. Well, I mean, the whole event like isn't that good, but there's certain things. The tag team match between Doom versus Barry Windham and Arn Anderson, street fight. That's great. If you ever get a chance to watch that,
Yeah,
definitely check
I'm
that
sure it's
out.
on the network, so I'll probably be able to. When I say it's on the
Yeah,
network, it's on the cock. No, not the.
yeah, it's on the cock. It might, yeah, it's on the cock. Um, so Yeah, and their way out was put Ric Flair under said mask, and oh shit, look, it's Ric Flair. Not like we couldn't tell with the hair inside the mask and this, that, and
Right.
the other, and the blade
Fake
job, but
voice.
yeah. So, well, the voice was always Ole Anderson.
Oh, okay.
The voice, he always did the voice. If you put that together with the Shockmaster, you'll hear the same voice.
Gotcha.
It's same exact voice. That was Ole Anderson. But
Just quick question about this list, because I got a few names on mine, but I want to make sure. This list doesn't have to be just like failed funny gimmicks, right? Like this could be like some
no,
ones as well.
no, we can talk about some good ones that actually did well, because there's a couple of them.
Well, then there's one I want to mention. Santino Morella.
Uh,
You didn't like Santino, man?
I wasn't.
You know,
He filled his role in the company, I guess. I mean, I'm not like overly against him, but like, you know, he had some memorable moments and some funny stuff, but overall, that was during the point in WWE where it's like, oh
I think
man,
I think
for what he did, he was good.
I think after Elimination Chamber 2013 is when he started to
Oh
wear out
yeah,
his welcome. I don't know if you remember that, but that was when he was in the Elimination Chamber for the world
was
title.
that 20? I thought it was 2012.
That
Wasn't
was
it? Where he
2013.
had the
That was
great showing.
WrestleMania 29, and Swagger
Oh
ended
okay.
up winning it. I
Oh
no
yeah.
no
All
no
right.
no no. Who won that? Daniel, was it 2012?
Yeah, I think it's 2012 because the only reason why I remember is because he actually that was probably his best work ever, honestly, because
Hold
he
up,
actually
hold
was in
up.
it.
I think that was 2013, but
He could have been in both of them, but I think it's 2012 that you're
Elimination
thinking of
Chamber
where he had a showing.
2013. I'm looking up the results. Let me see. Because Daniel Bryan was the world champion.
That'd be 2012 then.
Was it though?
Yep, because then that WrestleMania is when he dropped it to Sheamus in 18 seconds.
No, because this was when he was a baby face too.
Oh, I thought I did. I don't know.
Fucking, I'm throwing through a loop here, man.
Yeah, I'm thinking
Wait.
2012, but I could be wrong.
Daniel Bryan was.
I really can't remember 2013's Elimination
Did
Chamber.
Daniel Bryan
I
win?
know wasn't it the one where Wade Barrett was in it too?
Let me see. Wow, really? Maybe it would.
Because I think that's all I remember.
Hold
In
up.
Big Show, Big Show was in it too, but I think he was eliminated
Yeah,
first.
maybe it was 20. I don't know if it was 20. It couldn't have been 2014. Could it have been?
We have Google
Santino
right at
Morella
our
was in the
fingertips, and we're
Elimination
not using.
Chamber. Okay. Well, Wikipedia sucks at that. I'm going to go on YouTube.
Yeah, we can all get on Wikipedia and write whatever we want. Let
Uh,
me let me
Because
let me go put it
he
in the
was in
Google
the.
machine.
I know he was one of the final two. Um, it was 20. What, really? What? Okay, so he was in the 2012 Elimination Chamber. Uh, and then I guess it was 2012. It
That's
was
what I
20.
thought.
Yeah, okay,
But
so it was.
it's a lot of wrestling, man,
Yeah, but
to remember.
that was like his most memorable moment. I honestly
Yeah,
thought
because
he was going to
he
win
was
that.
serious in that. He was really serious in that.
Really would. But then, and this is the thing. And me and my dad, we mock it to this day. The thing, he sticks the cobra on his hand, the cobra sock on his hand. And then he just he puts the hand down, he does the
And
cobra,
does
and he
the whole
just,
motion.
yeah, it was just so weird and sad. But, oh, by the way, before we go any further, I just wanted to say, shout out to my brother-in-law. I found out last night when I hung out with my sister, he watched Wednesday's podcast. So,
Oh wow! All right,
yeah, shout out to my brother-in-law for thanks for supporting us, Derek. Much love,
that
bro.
was a fun show. That was
Yeah,
a fun show.
yeah. And I didn't even know he. My sister, I was at my sister's last night, helping her with her kids because he was at work, so I helped her for a little bit, and I got to play with my nephew. So it was special. Um, but she told me, she's like, "Oh, by the way, Derek watched your podcast on." Or she's like, I was telling her about the podcast. She's like, "I know you have a podcast. Do you know how I know?" I'm like, "How do you know?" She's like, "Because Derek watched it on Wednesday." I'm like, "Oh, for real?" She's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Ooh." So I talked to him about it. I'm like, "Dude, you watched my podcast on Wednesday?" He's like, "Yeah, I only watched about 5 minutes of it. It was just random." So, like,
What made you want to do?
hey, you
Hey, at
know
least
what,
you
man?
get,
Hey,
that's a view.
that's a view. That's a
We're
view.
blowing up, man. We're blowing up.
Facts. Facts. So anyway, yeah, I just wanted to mention Santino, and then another gimmick I liked was Too Cool. That was actually a
Yeah.
pretty fun gimmick. Uh,
Well, they were great to begin with. As too was it too much? I want to say was their first name
I think
too
that was
much. It
too
was,
much. Yeah, I think it was.
and then it was too cool, and then when they put Rikishi in, it was like solid gold. Brian Christopher, very, 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 very under fucking rated.
Yeah, taken from us too
It re-
soon, by the way.
he had a lot of bad habits. That's the thing that sucks about that. So, yeah, I really enjoyed watching him in the ring. Always have really. I mean he I mean to live in the shadow of probably the greatest pro wrestler to ever live, arguably, is you know that says a lot. So because I will say it now, Jerry the King Lawler is probably without a doubt, one of the greatest pro wrestlers to ever live just because he stayed in one territory, was on top in that one territory for 35 years.
Was that on your
So,
end? That noise?
yeah, it's a motorcycle.
Oh,
You know
okay.
what they say about people on motorcycles or with loud vehicles. They're overcompensating.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Not a
Jerry the
fan of
King Lawler,
motorcycles either, so yeah.
I will tell anybody, and this opens up a bunch of goofy gimmicks. Actually, um, go and watch some Memphis, especially when Jerry Lawler's booking. He uh he had Dr. Frank in there one time. That
Talk.
talking about gimmicks. Dr. Frank, uh, Frankenstein in a box.
Oh, okay.
And he wrestled at the Mid South Coliseum in the main event that Monday. But yeah,
Um,
that's real shit.
I, I don't know if you ever watched TNA. Do you remember the gimmick Black Rain?
Yeah, the gold dust when he was all screwed up on painkillers and fat.
Yeah.
I actually kind of liked it because he could make anything work.
He seems so much
Um,
bigger as Black Rain too, didn't he? Like
oh my
not
god, he
heavy,
was like a
but like
blimp.
buffer or whatever, like stronger or whatever.
He seemed like he put on the dusty gut.
Mm.
That was the closest he ever came to looking exactly like his father. If you thank God he didn't wear trunks.
Yeah.
Maybe he had a blotch.
By the way, if we're talking about Dusty real quick, I gotta tell this funny story I heard from Bruce Pritchard's podcast. I don't know if you ever heard this story or not. Um, Bruce was riding with Dusty Rhodes in a car one night.
Oh
Bruce
yeah.
Bruce was driving, and if you heard it, then I'm just gonna tell the people who have it.
Oh yeah.
Bruce was driving in the car, and he was telling Dusty because Dusty had just debuted in the WWF or whatever, and so Bruce was telling Dusty, "Hey, you know, I know you were big over in the South and the Southern region over there, but this is the northeastern version, and
Different crowd.
different crowds exactly. It's a different crowd, so they're probably not going to know you quite as much, right?" And Dusty Rhodes, I'm going to do my best Dusty Rhodes impression. I apologize in advance for this. I butchered this, but I'm going to do my best impression. But Dusty Rhodes tells Bruce, "Baby, let me tell you
You
something.
want me to do it?
Let me tell you something, baby. The Dream is the most recognizable athlete in the world, second only to Muhammad Ali, baby." And I don't know, it's a bad impression, but
That wasn't that bad.
all right,
I
cool.
am the second most recognizable athlete.
You gotta get that
Second
lift.
only. to
gotta get that
Muhammad
lift,
Ali.
baby. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about, that lift. Anyway, I am the most recognizable athlete in the world, second only to Muhammad Ali, baby. And Bruce is like, yeah, okay, whatever. And lo and behold, Bruce gets pulled over by the cops. And Bruce, cops pull Bruce over, and like license registration, all the cop crap, whatever. And then he's like, wait a minute. Are you? He looks at Bruce Pritchard, right? And Bruce was not in his ring gear or getup or whatever. He looks at Bruce. He goes, "Wait. Are you a wrestler?" And Bruce was like, "There's two ways to answer this. I either say yes and they arrest me, or I say yes and they let me go." So he said yeah, and they were like, "Oh, are you Brother Love?" And Bruce is like, yes, I am." And they're like, "Oh, okay. Well, just be careful going on these streets and have a good night." And then they saw Dusty in the car, and they looked at Dusty and they go, "Hey, are you a wrestler too?" And Dusty goes, "Baby, let me tell you something. I am a wrestler, yes sir, right?" And cop's like, "Oh, okay," and the cop just walks off, right? The cop just walks off, and Bruce Pitcher starts driving, and under his breath he goes, second most recognizable, or the most recognizable athlete in the world, second only to Brother Love. So I
One of my
just what?
That's great. That's great. That is a good story. One of my favorites. And this sums up Dusty the best way possible. Is he was doing one of those big conventions, autograph conventions.
Yeah.
And he's kind of rushing people along. And Scott Cornish told this story on the 605 Super Podcast, cheap plug.
Okay.
Um, and he
The
said
what
that he had
podcast?
a 605 Super
Oh,
Podcast,
that's
the
hosted by
mothership.
Brian Last, right?
Yep, it's great. You should definitely check it out. He told one. He had a wrestling magazine with he had a small picture of Dusty, but Dusty was on the cover too. And he's just kind of, signing the autographs, not really being personable. And he's got his biographer there with him, sitting at the table, Dusty. So Scott comes up in the magazine, puts it down, and he looks at the magazine. And he said, "You see that? Two pictures on the cover." Just talking about the magazine with the two pictures of himself.
Yeah.
Two pictures. Two pictures on the cover. Yeah, I just turned
Yeah.
to his biographer.
I don't know if you ever saw that Paul Heyman documentary, but he talks about when Paul talks about a time where he was a photographer and he snuck his way to a NWA show that Dusty was booking, and he went backstage with all the talent. Dusty saw that and he goes, "What are you doing?" And Paul's like, "Well, um, I'm learning from you." Where he goes, "Oh, I'm just here to take pictures and blah blah blah." And Dusty's like, "No. This is a production. We're doing a production." And Paul Heyman had to be Paul Heyman, bullshit his ass off, and he said, because we'll get into this too in a minute. We'll get into this in just a minute. Don't worry, folks. But Paul Heyman said, "Oh, um, you Dusty," and he thought that he was going to get kicked out of the locker room right then and there. And Dusty looks at him and he goes, "Well, you learn from the back, and I am a genius. I set you out in the back and take notes." And so, I mean, I guess that's just the kind of guy Dusty Rhodes was. Man. He was a character in and out of the ring.
Oh yeah, there's always everybody's got a favorite Dusty story. And you could see it too now.
Yeah,
like definitely.
I just wish that Cody did see it.
Hopefully, people go back and watch some Dusty because he's very underrated.
Yeah, well, and
People,
then you look at what his kids are doing. Cody is out here cutting like these promos that are moving people apparently, and I mean, I'm like, come on now. He's ending in his promos. He's like basically ending racism. I don't know if you've ever seen any of those promos, but I mean, and then
I've seen him. Is it true that he runs them by focus groups?
coming
I
from
heard that.
you know what, AEW, they probably do a lot of focus groups. They probably do a lot of focus groups. Number one, but the thing that killed me was when Jericho was talking about. I don't know if you heard this one, but when Chris Jericho was talking about their Stadium Stampede 2, uh, he was talking about the match after the match happened, and he was doing some interview with somebody, and oh, fucking Chris Jericho, fuck
He exposed the business.
yeah. He goes, oh yeah, we had people. We had stunt doubles. We had people. We had choreographers and stuff. And I'm just sitting here like, oh my god,
We're completely away from the plot now,
facts,
honestly.
facts. It's not even about the plot. It's just I can't defend that.
Even I hate to say this, even Undertaker and AJ, when they did their match,
Yeah,
did the stunts themselves.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
it might have been like a film, which Undertaker can get away
Well.
with that.
I think in
But
that.
it was a match.
I think in the football field, the football. Let's call it football field
Football
fuckery.
field fuckery.
Yeah, yeah. Because Jim wants to call it football field tomfoolery. No, it's football field fuckery. Fuck you. Um, I think they did all their own stunts. They were just choreographed.
Oh my god!
Which,
In over 4 days.
which, it's fine if it's choreographed because you do stuff safely. But don't go in interviews and talk about, well, yeah, everything we did was planned and choreographed and executed. Because then you just, like, if you do it, you do it, and that's one thing. But don't say you did it. You know, I mean, that's, oh man. I just,
I will
uh,
say this. I will say this. Last year's, I watched it, and I actually wasn't enjoyed it.
I did too. I liked
But
last year's also.
but now I'm sitting here like, did they do the same thing last year? Which kind of really does take away from it for me. Because it's like, well, that kind of flies in the face of everything that pro wrestling is. You know,
Yeah.
one take, in front of an audience.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna be honest. That's how I do a lot of my videos. It's just I hit the record and I do the video and then I just publish it. There's no editing tricks that I pull or anything like that. It's just um. But I mentioned Paul Heyman. We'll get back into Goofy Gimmicks in a little bit. But I wanted to talk about Paul Heyman. Because I mentioned that. Actually, you know what? This is another silly story because we're telling stories, right, on the show today. Just
Oh
telling
yeah,
stories.
definitely.
Fantastic.
We're shooting from the hip.
Shooting from the
Shooting
hip.
from the hip.
Okay. Well, my hip is out, so I can't shoot from it. No, I'm kidding. Oh, by the way, funny story. Well, not funny, but today, for those of you who do not know on the C&C Connection podcast, last Saturday I adopted a brand new puppy dog, and his name is Jax. He's 15 weeks old now, and he is such a good boy. Just an absolute sweetheart of a dog, right? Absolute love machine. Just once all he's got to do is sniff you, and then he's your best friend. And that's just simple. Like he sniffs you for 2 seconds, gets your scent, and he's like, "Okay, I know who you are. You're friends." Anyway, just a sweet boy. I love Jax to death, and he's a Doberman Shepherd mix, like a Doberman German Shepherd mix.
I was actually going to ask what he was because he looked like Rottweiler. He looks like a Rottweiler.
He does look like a Rock, but I think he's not big enough in the face to be that. So He's just like a German Shepherd Doberman Pinscher mix. But anyway, so today, a week right after we got him, we took him to the vet for his very first, not for anything major, just like a checkup. You gotta take your pets to the vets for checkup. Before I go any further on this story, I gotta say, last time I was in an office, I walked in crying, and I walked out crying, and that was because that was the day that I had to put my dog Sophie down. And that was a really
Oh,
hard day. That was a really, really hard day. And that night, we actually did it that night. And it was wet, and I think it was even raining as well. So it was certainly windy. So it was just not a pretty night, right? Not a good night.
not definitely not.
I actually just came home, and I was so sad. It was like 7:30. Like we got home, I'm like, I'm just gonna. I just came into my room and I just fell asleep. I woke up, and I almost started crying right away. But anyway, but today we took the dog to the vet, and it was sunny and warm and beautiful out, and it was a perfect day. And we walked him into the vet, and he's making friends with all the nurses that he sees in that office. He's like, "Oh,
Oh,
I
he's a
like
ladies'
you,
man.
I like you, I like you." Well, they had treats. They had cookies and stuff like that. So. But he was like, I like you, and I like you, and I like you, and I like you. He weighs 25 pounds. They got his weight. He weighs 25 pounds. And this story does have a happy ending, fortunately for Jack, because he's happy and perfectly healthy, and he's awesome. And he actually had to get two. He actually had to get 2 shots today. And when they gave him his shots, he didn't even react to the shots at all. He didn't
So he's
scream. He
very
didn't.
well behaved.
Oh yeah, he didn't scream. He didn't bark. He didn't yell. He didn't try to bite. He didn't, cry. He just It helps that we distracted him with more treats. Uh, but that doesn't always work. Like with our other dog Sophie, it certainly didn't work. Because she was a sweet girl, but she wasn't nearly as friendly as Jax is. Um,
She knew what the deal was.
yeah. She's like, hey, I know what you guys are about, and I don't like this. But yeah. So anyway, yeah, so Jack's got his shots today. Like I said, he's happy and he's healthy, and he goes back to the vet on the 22nd for his next round of shots. So just so you all know, be prepared for that. Um, I'll keep everybody updated on Twitter and on Facebook. So if you want updates on Jax, just follow me on Twitter at Mania21. And I'll be posting updates. But anyway, back to Paul Heyman. There was a story. Oh, I forgot the story. Oh no. Yeah, I'm sure it's a story everybody's heard. I'll just tell it anyway because I've already started. But back in ECW, ECW is a now defunct pro wrestling promotion run by Mr. Heyman himself. Uh, and a lot of the talents came out came and helped him run the shows too. So they would help with the money and all that stuff and the merch. And Paul one time, I don't remember what Bubba Ray was asking for. He was asking for some sort of number. I think he wanted to mail
Tracking
some.
number.
Huh?
A tracking number, like
Tracking number.
I think
Okay.
a UPS tracking number.
Yeah. So Bubba had asked Bubba Ray Dudley, asked Paul Heyman for the tracking numbers for a package, and Paul said, I can't remember the exact number, so I'll just throw numbers out. 923467912, right? Or 923765421, right? And Bubba Ray goes, Paul, that's one too many numbers. Paul goes, oh, just knock the last one off. Knock that last one. I'm just like, so that's kind of stuff that Paul did. Like he did what he had to do to get to the next day. And if that meant that he had to lie, he had to lie. I know that some wrestlers had to have some wrestlers had to have fake family deaths to
Mm-hmm.
get on an
Get
airplane.
airline tickets.
Yeah,
Discount airline tickets.
yeah, yeah. I love your laugh, by the way. Your laugh is awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's just fantastic. But yeah, so whatever, whatever you gotta do to survive, you gotta do to survive. Hey, I understand that completely. Do what you gotta do to get to the next day. Um, and it sucks that ECW went out of business because
They were making money.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
what sucks. They were making money.
no,
They were
they
packed. They
they
never
were
never
to,
had a non-packed house.
to,
That's what sucks.
as Paul put it himself. He said, "We were too big to be small, and we were too small to be big." It was done. It was just over. Uh,
Well, the real story is actually that TNN deal that they inked out. He wasn't ready for, and he was paying TNN every cent that they were making.
oh boy.
Now, keep in mind, they were packing places that held 4,000 people.
Oh yeah.
And so they were packed, jam packed, always sold out. Everywhere they went, they sold out. They even came here to Virginia at one point and did a show, and it was
Okay.
sold out. So I didn't go,
No.
but they did come here. I know some people that did. They did it at the amphitheater, which is that would be, I don't know how that would work, but they did it. But they sold out everywhere. Like if you watch like any of those shows, they sold out.
Oh yeah.
Like they were always sold out. Like
Yeah, but again, when they were on TV, they only really performed in one place, and that was the hall. So I mean, it could have still been like the same people every single week.
oh no
So
no
when you
no no
say
they
that,
they they actually like went on tour and like the TNN shows were done everywhere.
oh,
If they would
okay,
have stayed if they would have stayed at the arena, they probably would have saved some money.
okay,
The original shows, like when I started watching in '94, those were done from the ECW arena.
okay.
And but like
Is that
around that
arena
time,
still up?
yeah,
By the way, is
huh?
that arena still around? The ECW arena?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. They still run shows.
Oh, okay.
Actually, they installed AC and made it all nice and stuff.
Okay, so it's all pretty.
So I think Ring of Honor did TV tapings there for a minute.
Oh, okay.
It's so yeah. Oh yeah. That building. That's one of those places I really wished I could have, like the Sportatorium in Dallas or anything like that. You hear about these shitholes that are like great with atmosphere. Really wished I could have went. Kind of like the Norfolk Scope here. Whenever I go to a
Oh,
show
the
there,
North
just really great
that
atmosphere.
that arena, Northwood Scope, if I'm not mistaken, that is where DX invaded WCW.
I went to Nitro that night.
Yep,
Yep, yep.
yep,
They were out here at Hampton, in front of the Hampton Coliseum, which is about 3 miles up the road from me right now.
yep. Okay.
Started there and drove with a tank all the way to Norfolk, which actually is just right across the water.
Do you,
That's cool because you brought that up, because I actually got to be a part of wrestling history,
yeah.
because literally, if you pull up a map, Hampton and Norfolk are just across the bridge.
Okay.
Like they're there. We're right across from each other. Like the Scope and the Coliseum are not far.
How long of a
Like
drive would
12.
it
It's
take?
12 miles. It literally, it's that close. That's close. And it's just like when
So
you
it's like
think
about
about that,
20. How long minute wise? I'm not good with.
about 20-25 minutes. Not
Okay.
not really that, like I said, not really that far, considering like it's the only time in the whole Monday Night War that they were like looking at each other essentially. Because if you stare at the end of Hampton, you can see Norfolk.
Gotcha.
So
Remember that?
it's actually crazy.
Do you remember that Raw?
That
Back in
Raw, I wished I was there.
no,
That
no,
Nitro.
not that Raw. Do you remember the Raw back in 2016? It was the night that Goldberg had returned to WWE after 12 years.
I don't. I didn't watch the whole show. I called that on highlights. At that point, I was watching highlights mostly
Okay,
because 3 hours
well,
worth of Raw was just too much for me.
that show will always and forever have a special place in my heart because I was there live that night. And there's more to this story that I'm going to reveal. So, I I did not know that Goldberg was even going to be at that Raw, right? But
Yeah.
about a month before, my friend and I were hanging out and smoking hookah, and he was telling me, he's like, "Hey Christian, what are you doing on?" I can't remember the fucking date.
Such and such.
Yeah, what are you doing? It was like right before Survivor Series. I know that much.
Yeah, so probably like in October, early
Yeah, I would
November.
say the end of yeah, it was the end of October. Hang on, I'll actually look up the date. But he was like, "What are you doing on this date?" And I'm gonna look up the date right now because it's actually an important date. Uh, I promise there's more to this story. Um,
Oh yeah, yeah.
because
I'm sure. I
it's
mean,
it's not just going to the event, right? But he let me see, return to WWE. Mm, oh, um, okay, so it was Raw, October 17th. It was on the
October
17th of
17th.
October 2016. And my buddy's like, "What are you doing on October 17th?" I'm like, "Probably just going to watch Raw with my uncle. Like I always do, you know." And he's like, "Oh, well, how about instead of watching it with him, watch it with me instead?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm going to come over and smoke some hookah and watch Raw with you." And he's like, "Oh, no, 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 no. We're not going to watch it here. We're going to watch it at the arena." Right? And I didn't know this was before Goldberg. I knew that Goldberg was going to be there. Right? Like, "Oh, you got tickets?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Oh, that's cool. Yeah, let's go. Let's go to the." It was at the Pepsi Center, by the way, which is like for you, the Northwood Scope is about 20-25 minutes. That's how far the Pepsi Center is from me. It's just right downtown. Um,
Yeah.
and so I'm like, "Yeah, sure, we can go down there. Cool, whatever." And he's like, "I didn't just get any tickets. These are tickets that you cannot buy. You have to know people that can get these tickets for you, right?" Before I go any further into details on that, I love my brother Nate, my friend Nader. He's like my brother from another mother. I love him and I love his whole family. And this is a shout out to my boy Nader, as a matter of fact, because he owns a liquor store, so he's not just working in one. This is his own liquor store. He has the building license and everything. So he's
He's the
the
head
top dog.
honcho.
He's a head honcho, right? And like, there's nobody above him, um, which is really cool. Free booze that way. No, no, I'm just kidding. I don't actually do that for him with him, but no. But
Wink,
anyway,
wink.
so one of the lenders that he works with, the beer lenders that he works with, he gave Nader these tickets for any event at the Pepsi Center, and Nader used them to go with me to, to the Pepsi. I'll tell you about my first ever WWE live show too in a minute. Um, but Nader, Nader got the tickets, and so Nader tells me, he's like, "These are not just like tickets. You got to know people that know people." So Nader knew a vendor that gave him these tickets, right? And
Yeah.
I'm looking at the tickets, and it says box seats, and I'm like, box seats? Like, what does that mean? And they're just like, well, that means we're going to be sitting up in our own box, where we can see the ring and everything like that. And in that box, there's going to be a buffet, and there's going to be an open bar. So it's all you can eat,
Hookers.
all you can. No hookers, unfortunately. Um, but that would have certainly made the show much better, in my opinion, because that show, aside from Goldberg, that show actually was pretty bad. But like they made it. The final match on that show was the cruiserweights. That's how bad the show was. But anyway, so so it was all you can eat, all you can drink. I'm like, oh shit, this is awesome, right? And so we went, and then we got like 12th row seats, which was really really cool. Those are not bad seats at all, because you could see the rain, and it was cool. My buddy got a video of me chanting "Goldberg, Goldberg" as Goldberg was coming out. It was really cool. It was just a really cool. And then the very first experience. Now this is going to be a little bit of a longer story, so take your sips or whatever. Strap in for this story, because this happened
You
in
didn't say strap on, did you?
strap in, strap on, strap all over. Whatever.
Strap something. Just
Strap
strap.
in. Yeah. So this happened when I was no. This happened when I was a junior in high school, and my friend Nader was a senior at the time, right? And Nader and I, we were cool in school, right? But we never really hung out
Yeah.
outside of school at this point. And he would give me rides home. He would take me to King Soopers and get me Pepsi because I love soda. And so he would take me to King Supers. He would give me rides home, and that was about as far as our friendship went. And then one day, I'm at school, and I'm getting told by everybody, "Hey, you got a really big surprise coming for you right after school, right?" From Nader. I'm like, okay. And they said really big surprise. I figured it was going to be a 24 pack of Pepsi. You know, because never in your wildest dreams do you imagine it's going to be what it ended up being. And I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. So Nader's like, Christian, come here.
Let me ask something. It wasn't Slick Johnson coming out of cake, was it?
Thank God, no, no, no. But he's like, Christian, come here. Right? And this was after school. I'm like, what's up, bro? He's like, what are you doing on March, whatever the fuck? I can't remember the date. I'm not going to look back. Um, and I'm like, March, whatever. I don't know. I don't plan that far ahead because it's still what February. This is like right after my birthday, and I'm like, I don't know what we're doing. And he's like, oh, well, you and me are going to go see a WWE live event, and this is my very first live event, mind you. This is my very first live event, and I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, man, we're going to go see a live event, and he pulls out the tickets as proof, and I was so surprised. I almost started crying. I'm like, holy shit. Yo, just think about that. Like, yeah, we were friends and yeah, we were cool, but I never thought that we were that cool. That he took time out of his day and money out of his wallet to do that for me. That's
And
pretty
that's
fucking
awesome.
cool.
Yeah.
That shows what a good person Nader. Shout out to Nader. Um, shout out to that guy. He's a homie. And so anyway, so
And that was about like what, about 2009 or 10ish, I'm gonna assume.
2010. Yeah, I was a junior in 2010. Yeah,
I took a shot in the dark and got
but
it.
there you go.
Awesome.
Yeah. Actually, it was 2009, 2010. So very good. But anyway, um, so yeah, I'm like, oh man, that's awesome. But then it dawned on me. I'm like, oh fuck, I gotta ask my parents first because they don't even know who Nader
Uh oh.
is. They don't even know who this guy is, right? And
And I'm sure they were protective like mine were as I was growing up.
Yeah. Well, so my mom picked me up that day to school, and she's like, I'm like, Mom, what are we doing on this day on September whatever, or on September on March whatever? I was like, I don't know. Why? I'm like, well, because Nader has tickets to go see WWE live event. He bought them for me and him to go together. And Mom's like, who the hell is Nader? And I'm like, oh, Nader's my friend. And Mom's like, I've never heard of this guy at all. Like, yeah, he went and he bought tickets for us to go see. And Mom's like, somebody, so can I go? Mom's like, no, I don't know this guy. I'm like, well, he drives his own car and he has a license and all that stuff. And yeah, Mom's like, well, I gotta meet this kid before you go. I'm like, okay, that's fine. That should be fine. Whatever. And as my sister was in the car, she goes, pull out the tickets and actually show you that he has them, or did he just tell you? Right? I'm like, oh no, no,
Yeah.
no. He showed me the tickets. And she's like, huh. And so, but my mom got to meet him, and my dad got to meet him, and they approved of the guy. So, yeah, that was pretty. That was a pretty cool experience.
That is awesome.
That was so. Like I said, man, shout out to my boy Nader, because like almost any time WWE comes to town, he's on that shit. So yeah, and it's cool because they're coming in August. So, uh,
You know what's crazy is the last week when we did the first show and we were talking about live events. I've only seen 3 WWE events. I've been to a ton of wrestling events, mostly like I said, living in the Mid Atlantic, mostly WCW for a long time.
yeah,
But I actually forgot to mention the second show because I went to the very first house show that WWE held here. It's actually the very first show they held in this area,
okay,
at the Hampton Coliseum. We're a B town, by the way, Hampton.
okay.
Um, but yeah, WWE rated us a B, so that's pretty damn high.
I don't know
Um,
what Colorado's from, so
probably an A or a B. I'm assuming. Yeah, Colorado, Denver. You're about Denver, right?
yeah,
Okay, yeah, y'all would be in A town. Y'all would be sitting in A town.
okay,
Um, second show I went to, I had closer seats. Now, the best seats for a wrestling show to me are the very first level of the balcony because people always want the floor,
yeah,
but if you get that balcony above the floor, you get to see everything. Like it's a better vantage point, depending on your arena, really,
right,
because both the Hampton Coliseum and Norfolk Scope are actually fairly small arenas. Hold 9,000 people, I think. So, second show I went to at the Hampton Coliseum, I went by myself. Now I remember this because I was in fifth grade, and there was
okay,
only one ticket that was bought, and I had a bleacher seat. Um, I remember it because I did bad that week, and so I didn't get my customary wrestling belt merch that my dad would usually buy for me. He'd go there and I get a belt or whatever every single time. And this is back when they were made cheaply too, so they'd tear
right,
apart like in no time. Um, so, but what made me think about it was actually the main event is the only time I ever seen a cage match, and it was a three-way between Mankind, The Rock, and Kane.
okay.
Now,
Wow, that's a unique
this,
match.
yeah, well, this is story gets funny here. Well, I don't know what the hell's going on, but apparently the finish was fucked up.
Oh no, oh no,
So it was, escape the cage and pinfall and submission. So Kane's climbing the cage and he gets over and he's almost to the floor. Well, he has a good amount of time to get to the floor before Rock gets a 3 count on Mankind with the rock bottom.
right,
So he's just sitting there on the cage. And just as a young kid, I'm just sitting there like, why is he coming down? Like what the hell is going on? And which you put that together later, the finish was fucked up. But It was pretty cool. I went up and could almost touch Kane. It was a big motherfucker. Especially for
Hey,
fifth grade me.
at
Yeah,
that,
but that came to mind because like that was the only time I seen a cage match, and just to see like, because like at the time, I could say this, like at the time you're seeing these things, like you don't realize just like how cool it will be. Like,
yeah,
you know, I now sit there like, wow, I've seen The Rock twice before like he took off. I
yeah,
mean, well, 98, that was right before he turned heel in 98. That was when they were doing the whole three-way thing with the Intercontinental title and
yeah.
all that stuff. That's why they had the cage match.
That
They were,
that live event that I was talking about that I went to the first one, I
uh-huh.
got to tap Shawn Michaels on the shoulder.
See, you got to see Shawn Michaels. I never got to see Shawn
Oh
Michaels.
yeah, I got this was Shawn Michaels right before he was retiring too, like right before.
Yeah, you literally got to see his last tour pretty much.
Yeah, and that was pretty cool. And I never even realized that. So, but you talk about good seats. Uh, the last live event that I went to was in 2019. I went to Raw with my dad, and it was cool because like the seats that we bought were actually like they were up a little way. They were up a little ways. Up like on the 12th row or something like that. I can't remember how far up we were. Pretty far up, but we were still able to see the action and everything. And we got there, and they looked at our tickets and were like, okay, just 1 second, please. Like, hold up just a second. And then they walked away with our tickets. Me and Dad were looking at each other. We're like, what the hell is going on? And they come back, and they're like, okay, so actually, we moved your seats. And they moved our seats. We were 2 rows away from the floor seats. That's how close we were
Okay.
to the action.
That's those aren't bad seats. Those are what I call the bleacher seats because that's where they pull the bleachers out and put the seats on them.
But do you know where they put the camera when they do the for the like Raw, Monday Night Raw?
Yeah, the hard cam.
We were sitting right next to the hard cam.
Oh wow!
Like
All
the
right,
hard cam was like 3 seats down from us. That's where we were.
nice. So
So
you
the
had a great view.
oh hell yeah, and that was a blast. And it was really cool because I got to go with my dad. That was a special time. Anytime I get to do cool stuff with my dad, I always treasure those. Um,
Yeah, I my dad always took me, and like him and his brothers and everybody else I know that was older got to go to the glory days of Crockett with the Four Horsemen and all that. So he'd always have a story about seeing the chain matches with the Russians and the Rock and Roll Express, and talking about the Horsemen and all that. And my dad was the one back then. And keep in mind, this was back when riots would happen and all that kinds of stuff.
well,
He would be the one in the crowd to go, Russia, Mother Russia, #1, and cheer on the fucking all the heels all
yeah,
night long and get shit thrown
yeah,
at them.
yeah. Well, I'm gonna tell this story, and then we can end the podcast here. Um, my
No, we can keep going. I ain't got nothing to do tonight.
oh, okay. Well, I got to babysit tomorrow, so that's what I'm saying. We should probably end the podcast. I got to babysit, so I got to get some rest. But
uh,
and I think they're coming early as fuck too. But so I'll tell this story, maybe one other story, and then we'll call it a night. But also I got to go pee. But but so that that month that me and my dad went to Raw was actually a busy month for the two of us because earlier on in the month we actually went to yeah, I'll tell this story and then I'll tell my other story and we'll call it a night. Um, me and my dad went to the Great American Beer Fest, which I don't know if you know what that is, but that is where you can go and try all kinds of beers for free. It's like you go to there and you just
it's like wine tasting, but with just beer.
no, because with wine tasting, you have to spit the wine out.
Ah,
Well, but with beer, you didn't have to spit it out. You just drink and drink and drink as much as you want to. And So me and my dad did that. Me and my dad went, and yeah, that was a really fun moment. That was really cool. I got drunk. I'm not gonna sit here in front. I did. That stopped, but I continued. And then once my stomach started getting a little iffy on me, I'm like, okay, it's time to go home. And we were there for the better part of 3 hours. So that was a really fun time. And then this is the story I'll tell, and then we will wrap it up here. Um, and we can always do a part two to this too, like probably tomorrow, I think. But so this was in 2000. No, do you remember the WWE pay per view No Way Out?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, No Way Out always happened in like February, right?
Yep.
Okay, February happens to be my birth month. I was born February 23rd. Um, and so we No Way Out always happened like on my birthday or right around my birthday, and so we went to this bar and grill, uh, in 2007 when I was 14. I think I had just turned 14. And we went and we watched No Way Out 2007. Now, when I say we, I say we, me and my dad and I think my Uncle Ronnie was there. And,
Pronouns, pal.
what up? Yeah. Yeah, Bruce. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, so it was me, my dad, my Uncle Ronnie, and, watched No Way Out. They had somebody there at the bar, like a wrestler at the bar grill, signing autographs and giving out toys and stuff. You know who that was?
Who was it?
It was Doink the fucking Clown.
Oh, Matt Bourne.
I think it was Matt Bourne. Yeah. Yeah, was he alive in 2007?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Matt Bourne. And so, yeah, so I came up, so he was giving stuff out, and I went up to him, and I'm like, uh, hey man, it's my birthday. Think I could get like a little something special, like a toy or something? And he was like, oh, I'll see what I can get you, kid. And then he just kind of, I kind of went off and I sat back down. And I waited for him to come to me. He never came back up to me like that. So after the show went off of the air, me and my dad and my uncle, we all went up to him, Doink, right? I'm like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
Doink, you got something special for me for my birthday? He goes, oh man, my bag is just about empty, but I got I got something in here for my bag. I got something in here for you, kid. Pulls out 3 tickets to a local indie wrestling show for myself and my dad and my grandpa wound up going with us to that show. But that night was really special, because aside from getting those tickets, I got to play pool with Doink the Clown and a bunch of professional wrestlers. And I got to take a picture with the title belt that they had with them. And I got tickets to a local indie wrestling show. So that was really freaking sick. Uh, and then I'll tell you the story. So, and that's where we'll leave off, after that show.
You're lucky. He might have, if you would have got even more lucky if you pulled out a bag of Coke.
Back at what?
Bag of Coke.
Uh, Happy 14th birthday, kid. Here's some Coke for you. No,
Yeah, I mean, it's Matt Bourne here.
but no. So then at that local indie event, that was a really cool event. Because at that event, I actually got to see like a blind person wrestle, a legitimately blind person. His ring name was Blind Mike, and he was wrestling, and he did really good. But it's funny because he's blind, right? And so the fans in the crowd would chant, "Hey, Blind Mike, over here! Hey, Blind Mike, over here! Hey, Blind Mike, over here!" You're just trolling the shit out of him, right? Hey, Blind Mike, right over here! Hey. And it was funny. And I at one point, I went up to the rope thing that they had roped off. So you couldn't get to the ring. They had that part roped off. So I got to the rope and I just started booing. And the cop guy just shoved me out of the way. Legitimately fucking shoved. Right? I'm like, that guy just pushed me. Oh, I was so mad. I went to my dad. I'm like, Dad, did you see that? He just shoved me. Guy up there, he just shoved me. And Dad's like, just calm down, buddy. It's okay. I'm like, no, he just pushed me, right? And this dude right in front of me, he goes, who pushed you? And I'm like, that security guard right up there at the ring. And he goes, oh, fuck that guy. He goes, I'll tell you what, kid, if you or want anything, you let me know and I'll take care of it for you. Right? I'm like, not to let this opportunity slip up. I'm like, well, I would like a T-shirt and a bag of M&Ms. And the guy's like, say no more. I got you. Came back with the T-shirt and he's like, what size are you? I'm like, oh, large. He's like, okay, I'll be right back. Came back with the T-shirt and 2 bags of M&Ms and a Pepsi.
Nice.
I'm like, wow, thank you. I had money from because we celebrated my birthday that day, so I had money from my birthday, but I didn't have to spend any of it because that guy's up. So, hey, hey, if that guy's listening to our podcast, can't imagine why he would. But if he is, shout out to that dude. And I'm gonna go ahead and end the podcast off here. Chris, is there any ending thoughts from you?
Hey man, I have fun. Well, definitely, I could film tomorrow, so we'll pick up and with some more free form discussion.
Yeah,
Definitely enjoy swapping stories.
yeah, man.
And
Hopefully tomorrow at some point you and I can pick up where we left off tonight.
Yep.
Yeah, man. Uh, that's if my nephews are out of here early enough. But until next time, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the C&C podcast with Christian and
Chris.
And until next time, we
Tally
are
ho!
tally ho, everybody. Have a good night. Stay smart, stay safe.